Be careful.
And Scott Higgins, both of them coked up out of their minds.
Listen to you. He's down in the basement. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I think we should call this the Acement.
The Acement, yes.
Yeah, what do you think there, huh?
I like that. The Acement Studios.
Excuse me, I'm drinking beer. Hold on a second.
We usually drink bourbon on our end.
Yeah, right.
The podcast, so
that's all right.
Feel free to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You shoot an 8-ball if you want. We don't care, as long as it's good stories.
And welcome to the Acement, everybody. It's time to go behind the funny. This is Scott Higgins.
And this is Acecito.
And as you can tell, my co-host is still battling his laryngitis.
The longest ever case of laryngitis.
Oh, my God. This one is one for the record books. That's for sure.
I don't shut up all day. I talk at night.
I know.
I got rehearsals for this play coming up twice a week. I'm projecting my voice, and it's just killing it. So
unbelievable. But anyway, right. He is here he always is. And, so are you. So thank you for joining us. Those of you that are watching us, if you want to watch us Wednesday nights, 8:30, go to twitch.tv/drinks, jokes, and storytelling. We come to you live every week at 8:30. You can also follow us on our Facebook page, Behind the Funny, and you can get notifications when we're going to come live to you, and you can interact with us in person right there in the moment. And we love to have our fans interact with us and give us questions. And last week they were bringing up our history as we made mistakes, remembering stuff when we had Kirsten Logan here. So it's great to have you guys with us. And of course, if you download the podcast and listen to it later, as so many of you do, if you haven't yet, please help us out and give us that 5 stars and give us a quick review, just a quick sentence or two why you like the podcast. Hit the 5-star button. That is a great way to help out the podcast.
Yes. And for those of our astute fans, you may notice we brought back an ex-girlfriend.
Yes. She ghosted. We dated for a very long time.
Yes, we thought it was love. We thought it was true love.
We thought she was the one.
We thought she was the one.
We thought she was the one.
And she ghosted us, so we started seeing other bourbons. But you know what? We're thankful. We're thankful for the fact that she was around for a couple of years.
She treated us well.
She did treat us well.
She treated us well.
It's just her makers that didn't treat us well.
Yes. So it was her parents.
It was her parents.
It was her parents. They didn't like us.
They didn't like us.
They didn't
like us. We were those punky boys hanging around.
Yes. So they shunned us. But we decided to just dip our toes in the water and see her once again. But Jefferson's very small batch bourbon is back to join us once again this week.
Yes. But this isn't who we're excited about tonight.
Not at all. I've been so waiting for tonight.
We are very excited for our guest tonight. We're always excited. Waiting. We're always excited for our guest, but we actually had to reschedule this guest, and we might talk about it. I'm not sure, but we've been wanting her on the show for a long time. I think I've said it before. She's very, very funny comic who I've never gotten to work with. You did.
I had several times, and I had so much fun with her.
I am such a fan of hers between her rock T-shirts, which I'm wearing my Metallica shirt tonight in honor of her, but also her videos while she's dancing around to music make me laugh so hard because if you just watch her cats while she's dancing, typical cat reactions like, what the fuck are you doing? Like what my cat would do if I was dancing around. Yeah. But without further ado, we want to welcome our guest tonight, Miss Claudia Stavola, to the Behind the Funny podcast. Hey.
Yeah, there she is.
And she's
loving that T-shirt, man.
The rock.
Thank you. And she's actually in the famous kitchen that she dances around all the time.
This is true. I was gonna do it in my rock room. I actually have a room with all rock posters and pictures on the wall. I have my drum kit that I can't play. And
that was my first question. Can you play?
yeah, and Hall & Oates litter boxes. That's the name of the cats, in case people
Hall &
know the cats are Hall & Oates. So there's a whole thing going on there.
Oh, I can't go for that.
Yeah.
No can do. No can do.
That's just because you're such a man eater.
Oh my God! Listen, Sarah, smile.
Ooh.
Oh, wait a
that
second.
one?
Speaking of Hall & Oates, even though we're like, this is totally off topic.
Yeah.
I had a interaction with John Oates through direct message.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was actually some weirdo on Instagram sent me a direct message posing as Hall & Oates manager. Basically, he was trying to get my address.
Yeah. Oh.
So I messed with him a little bit, and then I direct messaged John Oates. I'm like, hey, you should know that this guy is pretending to be your manager. He's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Can you please send me a link to his profile? We got to block him. We got to report him. I was like, oh, John is all on the case.
And then he said, by the way, what's your address?
Yeah. and actually, speaking of no can do, I said to him, I go, what's really creepy is this guy's probably a stalker, and I can't go for that.
Well played.
Did he send back an LOL?
Not yet, but he has
okay.
LOL'd some. He liked a couple of my Hall & Oates dance videos.
Oh, that's awesome.
Them.
That's
so
nice.
I'm trying to get Daryl to respond.
Yeah, right. Claudia be on at Daryl's house next season.
Yeah,
oh my God,
playing the drums.
Have you seen any of those shows live at Daryl's house?
Oh yeah,
I love that show. I love that show.
It's one of the greatest shows ever, and one of the at every concert I've been to, I see Hall & Oates like twice every year, but not since COVID.
Yep.
Daryl Hall always says, yeah, we're filming new episodes. It's coming back. And then it hasn't come back in like 4 years.
Right.
So.
Well, I just love that he brings in such a wide array of musicians, just different people.
Yeah, different genres.
Right. Different genres. It's kind of all over the place. And what's amazing is he has such a great voice that it seems like it doesn't matter who he brings in.
Yep.
He is pretty much the best singer in the room every single time.
Yeah.
He's compatible with any genre.
It's unbelievable.
Little fun fact that you may not know, when David Lee Roth left Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen reached out to Daryl Hall.
Did he really?
Picture Daryl Hall in spandex.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine his soulful voice singing running with the devil and Jamie's crying. I'm not saying he couldn't, but his style, I can't picture it.
I think it would just be different. It would just be more soulful. It would probably definitely change the songs.
Yeah, it would definitely be a different vibe for sure.
Yeah.
They'd become an acoustic band, stuff like that. But I was a Van Halen fan at both different versions of them. I saw them with David Lee Roth, and then I saw them with Sammy Hagar, and I like both. And when people say which did you like better, they were different bands, totally different bands.
I like how you totally left Gary Sharon out.
That is we don't even pretend that was real.
Listen, I feel bad for Gary Sharon because he's a great singer.
He just didn't fit.
He just didn't fit. It just sounded too much like he was trying to fill the shoes of Sammy. Whereas when Sammy came in, it was totally different. He brought it in a different direction.
I'm not a fan of the Sammy era because to me that's not like the Van Halen sound, but I appreciate his voice. I get that people like it, but to me it was a little too soft, and I'm more about the like rockin' Van Halen. Like that debut album is probably one of the greatest debut albums ever.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, albums like
but I don't think that was Sammy's doing. I think Eddie and them wanted to soften the sound a little bit at that point, starting with 1984 when he brought in the keyboards.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we became a rock podcast.
That's all right.
Yep. People thought that was DLR, but it was actually Ed who wanted the keyboards, and Dave was like, huh?
Yeah,
You
Well,
know?
the first time that David Lee Roth allowed him to use keyboards, if I am correct, and you probably know better than I do, was on the song "And the Cradle Will Rock," where he had him pump it through giant amplifiers. So that beginning, riff, that
yes.
dun, 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 dun,
Cool.
dun, dun.
yeah.
Yeah, and you almost can't tell it's keyboards coming through it because it's got
Right.
so much effect on it.
It sounds like guitar. And
Right.
somebody did a poll. You know, people always put polls up on Twitter, like which is the best of these 4 songs, whatever.
Yeah.
They did a Van Halen poll, and I can't remember. I think it was "Ain't Talking About Love."
I love that song.
"Dance the Night Away," maybe, but one
Great
of them
song.
was "And the Cradle Will Rock," and it did the worst of the 4 songs. I'm like,
Really?
what? Like that song.
That was one of the hardest rocking ones out of the ones you just
Oh
named.
my God, the way it just comes at you. I love
Yeah.
it. Sorry, I'm a hand talker.
Yeah, that's all right. We're Italian. I'm
why,
Italian.
That's why this is video. It works
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
One of my all-time favorite Van Halen songs still to this day is "Little Guitars," and it's not one of their hits. It's just the intro and then the actual song itself, the guitar playing, the vocals, the whole thing is such a great song.
Oh yeah, there's so many deep tracks that
Yeah.
are
Exactly.
actually, I mean, I love the hits too, but
Yeah.
the deeper tracks,
Yeah.
people don't even know.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, "Sinner Swing." I love "Mean Street."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Main Street,
Their
Beautiful Girls.
version of "You're No Good."
Yep.
Forget it.
Yeah.
That just knocks me out.
And
We
it's
just-
12 past the hour, weather and traffic in a minute here on Rock Radio.
I know. I've been sitting here patiently waiting to start the interview like normal, but I'm
sorry.
like, I don't want to. No, but I don't want to. Just
Yeah.
because that's part of what you're all about too, though. You're a rock person,
Yeah,
so-
well, I do the morning. I'm the morning person for Monsters of Rock Radio, Monday through Friday.
Oh,
Just a little
wow.
plug there.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and it's fun because it's music that I love. I love all kinds of music, but I love hard rock and heavy metal, and that's what I
Yeah.
get to play, and that's my job. So
Right.
That's
it's
awesome.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
a dream job, right? So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay.
So I'm a northeastern.
Oh wow, near you.
Yeah. So East Coast, I've thought about like, I would love to live in California because of the sun. And I'm like, you know what? I couldn't live out there. It's not me. I'm an East Coast person.
Yeah.
So I'll probably never leave this, tri-state area. But,
Right.
if I could afford an additional place maybe someday, but
Right.
we'll see.
You never know. You never know.
know.
You never
do.
know.
It could
That's
happen.
right.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No.
Now, how old were you when you started comedy?
Oh, well, you're going to ask me that, and then you're going to ask me how long I've been doing it. And I like people to guess my age. But you know what I'm saying?
We don't bring that up
No.
Bring it
unless
up.
you want to offer
And
it.
listen, we're drinking bourbon. We don't do math at this time.
That's right.
either.
Although you could probably tell by my fan base that I'm an old bat. So
Yeah. And you're talking to two old geezers. so
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
We're all old.
We're all
I don't
old.
know. I was. I don't remember how old I think I was late 20s.
What was that first time that you got up on stage, and what made you do it?
Well, the first time, this is a great story, was at an open mic. I always loved comedy. My mom always watched stand-up comedy specials. She loved, Robert Klein, who's still one of my favorites.
Yep.
David Brenner, George Carlin. And I was always very shy, but I was always observing things. And I was the jokester in the family. Like that was sort of my way of kind of making things better when there was chaos going on. So I just, even in school, like that was my way of sort of relating to people, was just like humor is what got me through anxiety.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly how I just said, I got to do this, but a friend of mine was doing some comedy, and he says, I'm going to this open mic, and you want to join me? I said, sure. And I was all proud of myself, because I'm like, you know, I know everybody usually has like a little cheat sheet, and which is fine. It's an open mic and you're just starting out. And I kind of like memorized what I wanted to talk about. I didn't use the cheat sheet. I thought I was like so great for trying to, you know, look professional. And I get up there and I do my stuff. And the girl that hosted it, she was like a heavy set girl. And, you know, I didn't know her from a hole in the wall, but, you know, Scott, you've worked with me. You know, I'm always really friendly to everybody. And she rips the mic out of my hand when I'm done. And she's like, little tip, when a fat person is giving you stage time, you don't make fat jokes. And I'm thinking, fat? I don't make any fat jokes. I was making a comparison of how people think it's okay to, you know, rail on thin people. But then if you're heavy set, then, you know, they have a problem with it. It was basically just like the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah.
So after that, she was so rude to me. And then you know John Moses?
Oh yeah.
Johnny gets up there and he does a whole thing about fat people walking like elephants. She's laughing her friggin' head off.
Really?
Laughing her head off.
I was going to say, because that's something he would have done. Like, he probably wrote it while he heard her yelling at you. You know what I mean?
And
just to go up her ass.
And he. And when he's done, she's, you know, praising him. Somebody told me the next day she blogged about me and called me a skinny bitch and all.
Really?
That was my first experience.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, we're very welcoming group we are, comics, huh?
Yeah, made me feel
where
great.
What you don't have to name like the actual town, but what state was it in? Was it in Connecticut? Was it in Mass?
No, it wasn't in Connecticut, but maybe if I tell you the bit that she was famous for, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Because I'm already thinking of someone that I think I know who it is. But go ahead.
Yeah, she always talked about vats of Vagisil. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Initials AP?
No.
Oh, okay.
JM, I think the last name was M. Yeah, J is the first name.
I think I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Western Mass.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Western Mass.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, totally mean to me for no reason.
Wow.
So that was my
She
first time.
considered herself a writer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I never worked with her.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't lucky enough.
Yeah. Well,
Yep. I know who you're. Yeah.
And so despite that, how did you do on stage? Like, how was the audience to you?
I honestly do not remember.
Really?
What I do know is the first time that I got stage time, like at a real comedy club, like as a guest spot.
Yep.
My sister was always like trying to pimp me out and help me out. And even like when I wasn't ready. And we used to book a lot of guys like, Bob Levy, Jim Artie Lang, Nick DiPaolo. So we booked those guys quite a few times. So, and I did a radio show briefly with Bob Levy down in like the Philly area. I would drive like on a Sunday night. It was crazy.
Oh my God, really?
But anyway, that happened after. But my sister had told him, she's like, oh, you know, Claudia's, you know, a comic and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, have her come down to Rascals. I don't know if you guys remember Rascals.
In Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, she can do 5 minutes. I was not ready for this.
5 minutes. Yeah, right.
I was so nervous, you know, going down. It was me and my sister and some friends. And I got on stage. I got a couple of things out, and then I forgot everything that I wanted to say.
Yep.
And that was it. And it was horrible. People were nice to me, though. But yeah, that did not go well.
Yeah.
But yet you kept going. Something made you say, I gotta keep doing this.
And that's what
I just felt like this is who I am, and I have something to say. And you know, the one thing I noticed about myself is that I always did better if I didn't do open mics. Like, I know the general rule, and if you're giving advice to new comics, you got to go to as many open mics as you can. And that always screwed me up. If I went to an open mic, forget it. It would never go well. And then I would get in my head. if I had new material, I just did it when I got booked and, let me see how it goes. And I had more confidence doing it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So I stopped doing open mics because it was just a bad experience.
They weren't benefiting you at that point.
No.
Right. You weren't growing from it. And open mics, that
happens. We've talked to other people, same experience.
But it also depends on when you're doing open mics too, because open mics went from, like, when I started, open mics, regular people would go to an open mic. It wasn't just the same 10 comics who were on the show with you. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
I started in the late 80s, and people used to go out on a Wednesday night to go to an open mic and see new comics.
Exactly.
And after a while, it just evolved into, people not going out to see that. They only came to professional shows. And so the only people that were at open mics were all the comics who were bullshitting in the back or writing in their notebook while you were up on stage. Yeah. So you weren't really getting a good feel for how your material was going to go in front of a real audience,
Right. There was no way to get the vibe. You just didn't know. And then you don't know are they not laughing because they're jerks and they're jealous? Right. Are they not laughing because they're not paying attention? Are they not laughing because it's not funny? Or,
Exactly. Yeah. So you're not really learning from those open mics. Yeah. And those the good open mics are few and far between. So you said your sister was booking. You and your sister were booking. Were you booking before you were? So you were a booker before you were a comic?
Well, I decided to book so that I could also get stage time.
Oh,
smart.
And was it at a family restaurant, or was it a club, or?
Oh, we did a lot of shows. Do you remember the Webster Theater in Hartford?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if my sister knew this kid that worked there, the nicest guy. His name was Ben Wu, and he's gone missing. This has been several years.
Really?
Whole another. Yeah. Well, anyway, really nice kid. Yeah. He was like managing or whatever, and we approached him. So I used to do an open mic at the Webster Underground, which was their smaller club next door. And I used to run the open mic there. Yep. And then we would do shows in the big theater. And that's like when we did Artie Lang from the Stern Show. And actually they said that was like one of the biggest shows they ever had. It was kind of chaotic because Webster doesn't have seats.
Oh, really?
It's like a rock club.
Oh,
yeah.
It was like the Strand Theater or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they managed to get 1,300 people in there, but they put some seats, but not even for half the people. So it was insane, but it was fun times. We had good times back then. And,
it had to be chaotic. Artie Lang.
Oh, come on. Beetlejuice would come with Sal and Richard from the Stern Show.
That was Artie Lang with laryngitis.
This is Ace's new thing during his throat problems the last couple of weeks. Is he goes, all right, I'm going to do an impression of Gilbert Godfrey with laryngitis. Here's Peter Griffin with laryngitis.
That was Artie Lang with laryngitis.
I wish I could see you guys. I don't know why I'm bigger than you are.
No, he's got you set up that way.
Hold on. I'll make us bigger.
I'd rather see you than me.
Well, I wanted to focus on you.
You're the guest. We always like to.
Oh, I see. So you mean that's what other people are seeing?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Hold on.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Whatever you want.
There you go.
It's your show.
Now that's one of the things
shake again. No.
With
double padding. How sad is that? But that's double padding.
I wish I didn't.
I wish I did.
I don't have to with double padding, and I'm right there.
I know. Yeah. Don't make me jealous. Okay.
I'm trying to get down to an A cup.
Yeah.
Well, here you go.
Boobs.
But I first met Claudia at City Steam. We were lucky enough to do a lot of shows together at City Steam.
A lot.
It seemed like every time that I got booked there, it was always with her, and we worked with Chris Tabb a few times together there as well.
Chris, we talk all the time.
And that was such a fun weekend when it was her, myself, and Chris for the whole.
It's always
weekend.
fun when you work with people that you like, that you get along with and have fun with. And, you know, it's always a fun weekend.
And
That's
Claudia
awesome.
was the one that helped me write the famous joke that I don't do anymore that we've talked about on this show.
The rape whistle?
The rape whistle joke.
Oh, I love that joke.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about cancel culture and certain.
Yeah.
That's one that it depends on if I can get away with it. Clubs, stuff like that. But
Knights of Columbus halls.
But I can't do it at a theater. I can't do it at a fundraiser.
I know, it's horrible.
It's very selective. It's very 4 out of 10 shows maybe I can pull that out of the bag anymore. It's getting very difficult to do. But I had the concept in my head, but I didn't have the wording, and she helped me with the wording. And I didn't have the guts to do it at the early show on Saturday. And she's like, "You got to do it at the late show." And I do it at the late show, and she's standing in the doorway in the back, and I could see her, and then Chris comes out, and the two of them are standing there waiting for me to do the joke, and I did it, and it got a huge reaction that night. Thank God, because I never would have told that joke again if it didn't. And that's exactly what she did. She's standing in the doorway, and she goes like that when it hit.
Oh, that's awesome! I do remember that now.
That was so fun.
That's so cool.
Were you there the night that when Anthony was leaving and we did his like roast show or whatever?
Yeah, I roasted the hell out of it.
It was me, you, and Peaches, wasn't it?
Yeah, Peaches. Yeah.
Yes, and
was it Peaches? I think so.
Yeah, it was Peaches.
Yeah, but she didn't. I don't think she roasted. I think she just did a set after, right?
Because they didn't tell us when they booked us that it was going to be a roast. They just said
told me.
They didn't tell me or Peaches because we get there and they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are roasting him." We're like, "What?" He just said it was a comedy show, and Peaches was going around to the wait staff going, "What do you know about him? What can you tell me about him?" and everything.
Yeah. That's funny.
And so we go up there and wing it.
I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm the only one now. I look like an asshole because I'm
because you're roasting the shit out of him." Right.
And she roasted the shit out of him.
I liked Anthony.
It was so fun, and he loved it.
We were buddies. I loved Anthony.
He was like the last one that booked me there. And then I couldn't get anyone.
Let me tell you, he was
crazy.
the last one that really ran that place well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did such a great job.
Yeah.
He always had the pen behind his ear. You
yep.
knew he had business because he had the pen.
Yep.
Yeah. As long as that pen was in there, you didn't fuck with Anthony.
Right.
Although when Mike took over, you remember Mike?
Yes, Mike did a good job too.
The curly hair, right?
Yes, yeah, Mike did a good job.
Yeah, Mike Donas. He was working one night. I don't think I was working with you, Scott, but there was a table next to the stage of bachelorettes, but they had been drinking apparently since the morning.
Really? Bachelorette parties that are unruly?
Oh my God. This one girl was psycho. Like, she would not stop antagonizing. He had to basically drag her up the stairs and get her the hell out.
And get her out. Yeah.
It was insane. It was fun though.
Yeah.
Well,
he didn't fuck around. I mean, can I swear on this? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He didn't mess around, because I remember the girl that was there before him, that little girl.
Yes.
She was sweet, but she
could not control it. Could not control it.
She wouldn't approach anybody that was ruining the show. It's like, come on, we shouldn't have to do that from the stage.
Right.
Well, and I was just going to tell you, I was there with Jim Collin was the headliner. Yeah, I was featuring, and I forgot who the host was. It wasn't. I wasn't working with you, and there was 3 bachelorette parties at the late show Saturday. And they were all hammered, all 3 of them. And they started heckling and picking on each other.
Oh,
like we were like they didn't even notice we were on stage.
Yeah, like it became just like that.
They were competing with each other at that point.
I must have been so annoyed though.
Yeah.
And the host is trying to get them to be quiet. They could care less. I'm trying. They could care less. By the time Jim got up 5 minutes to his act, they started throwing drinks at each other. Literally throwing drinks at each other.
Oh, well, I was at a show like that where there was a drink. Yeah, the drinks were thrown. Yeah. I can't remember what happened, but similar scenario.
And Jim's standing on stage and he looks back at her. I forget her name. And he goes, do we want to throw them out maybe? And she just puts her hands up in the air like this, turns around and walks away and just leaves.
She was not.
She just wasn't equipped to handle that when it got like that. It wasn't fair to her to just.
It wasn't fair that whoever put her in that position, because they should have known her demeanor, that if she's
exactly,
she wouldn't make
authoritative or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That she was put in a no-win situation in all fairness to her. But, you know, we definitely had a lot. What I always loved about your style when you were up there is you'd go up on stage and you have this very likable style. The crowd instantly liked you because your tone of your voice and your demeanor and everything. And then you come out with some jokes that are just like, did she just say that? That's awesome. You would just surprise people because
I'm so petite that
right.
Like I have the body of a teenager or a child. Basically. I'm tiny. I'm compact.
How tall are you?
Like, oh, you know, sweet little girl, you know, whatever.
How tall are you? Are you like 5'2"?
5 feet, maybe 5'1"
wow.
on a good day.
Oh, you're even tiny.
Yeah, she has the build of a ballerina and the balls of a linebacker in the NFL. Because
here's the episode title.
Yeah,
Claudia Stavola, body of a ballerina, balls of a linebacker.
Balls of a linebacker.
We always like to get the title of the episode somewhere it comes out during the episode.
And I don't know what made me think of that, but I just remembered that you were fearless on stage. If you wanted to say something, you just said it and didn't worry about it. And because
she established herself up front as likable, she could get away with it.
But it was always she found a way to make it funny.
Right.
Even if she presented something that might be a little uncomfortable, she found the funny in it by the end of the joke.
Right.
Which I always loved watching.
Oh, thank you. Well, I always loved watching you too. We always had so much fun working together. I just remember we would laugh all the time backstage. And, you know, I appreciate that so much because we've all experienced working with people who are horrible.
Yeah.
And it just ruins the vibe.
And it ruins the job. You don't like the job when you know you're working with someone. You're like,
And it can screw up your mojo. Like if I'm getting a bad vibe backstage, it's
going to mess with you when you get up on stage, right?
Yeah.
I know. I was bummed. We were supposed to work together at, I believe, the Elbow Room in Hartford, West Hartford. A couple of years. It was like 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And then something happened where you couldn't make it. And that was the show that me and Dr. J were doing together.
Okay.
And then the only people that showed up were one woman that I worked with at my day job and her husband. So we ended up it was like the week before Christmas. It was like December 19th. And that was the last time I got to work with Jay.
Oh, how
And we didn't even get to work together.
Yeah, we used to have laughs together.
Oh, I fucking love that guy.
He actually, years ago, he put me in one of his he made like a video to advertise for his pediatrics thing. And
you played the teenage girl.
No,
did you play a patient?
I'm one of the patients. I'm going through puberty. No, he had me as like the I can't remember if I was like a disgruntled mom or an upset mom or something.
Awesome.
I think
that makes sense.
That's all I remember. I had to put fun in there.
To be authoritative.
That's right. I'm a mad mom.
I have a bun. Oh man, we love Jay.
Oh my God! But we did a tribute episode to Jay right after he passed, and we had a bunch of people coming on telling stories. And my God, that guy, he touched so many people,
really
and there were so many
in a good way.
Not his patients. Yeah. Well, he did touch them, but appropriately.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying that so many people came on and so many people told so many great stories about him because and everyone said the same thing. What a great guy and just a genuine great guy.
Just fun. He was fun. I remember when he was going through his divorce and he would talk my ear off, but it was so funny.
Yes.
Like, he always seemed so downtrodden, but he really wasn't. But what's so funny about him?
He was so right before he passed, when he got really sick, they had a parade for him.
Oh.
And it was because it was during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was during COVID.
Yeah.
So they had a parade for him, and they basically had him and a couple of his family members, his daughters were there, parked in the parking lot of his office. Oh. And then everyone drove by and beeped and decorated their cars. And when I tell you, we drove out there, it was an hour and a half away from here.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? I picked Scott up at his house. We drove out there. And we drove by. We did everything like the regular parade. There was hundreds of cars. Beautiful. We saw other comics. Marty Caproni was driving by, and we saw him. And then we drove by, and we're like, all right, we got to say hi. We get half hour away, and
maybe
Scott's phone rings, and it was his daughter calling, and she said, "Hey, are you and Ace close?" And we said, "Yeah, well, we're kind of close." And she said, "My dad was asking, where are my friends? I want to see my friends." Yeah. And he asked for us to come back, and we turned around.
Oh my
God. We actually went back, and I mean, he was beamed out of his mind off his fucking vape pen. But you know what? I got to see him, and I got to say, I'm so glad you asked for us to come back. We had such a great time that day. I'll never forget that day. It was a beautiful day. It was just awesome.
He was Jay. He made a few jokes about sitting out in the sun in the parade, and he just, even though he wasn't 100%, his wit was still there. And awesome. I got to visit him one more time after that at his house, and you could tell that it was having its effects on him. But we still laughed. Max Tocelli stopped by, and
I love Max.
Yeah, we hung out. We hung out and we had fun and we had some laughs. And that's always the thoughts I have whenever something comes up on Facebook, an old memory of Jay or something like that. I think about all those times I spent just laughing my ass off.
Oh, I know. We would giggle so much. I was recovering from something myself, so I wasn't able to participate with anything in person, but I did send him a card because I wanted to just talk about some of the memories.
Of course.
And so, I wrote something personal, but I just wanted him to know, that he did have an impact on me and my time with him, just doing comedy together and talking. And we had a nice, bond with the shows that we did, and just all those great memories. He was just a good guy. And
so I work during the day. I work in vaccines.
Oh,
and
wow.
he would send me all these memes about anti-vax people. Like out of the blue, I'd be working and I'd be talking to another doctor, and then all of a sudden my phone would buzz. I'd look and I'd start laughing, and I go, "Look, this is my friend who's a pediatrician and a comic. Look what he sent me."
That's awesome.
He was just I love Jay.
I love the guy.
We just turned it into another tribute episode, but you know what? I don't care.
I
love it.
But he's a guy that the three of us had in common. Behind the funny. That is a link that we all had. And one question that we ask comics all the time is, during their career, what were some of their wow moments? Some of those moments where they got to work with a comic. You mentioned Artie Lang. That would be a wow moment for a lot of people, or worked at a place that was a wow moment. And Jay has become a wow moment for me because we not only did I enjoy working with him, we truly became friends.
Yeah.
Now, obviously you talked about Jay and you sent him a card, so he touched you as far as,
hey, calm down.
Hey, whatever.
Appropriately.
Yeah. Well, she's
listen, I tried to get him to touch me, but he was said I was
he was single at the time. She's an attractive lady. Hey, those things happen. They're consenting adults, whatever.
If Jay was here, he'd go, "Son of a bitch, how did I know?"
Now she tells me. She tells me. But anyway, during the time, during all these years of comedy, what were some big moments for you where you like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm here, or I can't believe I'm with this person right now?
Oh my God. Well, my big moments are, I always remember when people are assholes, but okay, I'll give you a good moment.
We're going to get to that later.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
We start with the good and end with the bad.
That's a different
All right.
section.
A couple of good ones. I got to open for Sebastian Maniscalco, which was so fun. And I had to pick him up at the hotel. And this was, so if you remember his first special, he was a little bulkier. He wasn't like heavy or anything, but he was just like a bulkier guy.
Yeah.
So I'm standing in the lobby waiting for him to come down. And all of a sudden I just see these legs coming down this like, you know, turning staircase and kind of like almost like a swishy kind of walk.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was him. I was like, he looks so different. He was like the more manicured, petite, Sebastian, but really nice. Very quiet. He reminded me actually a lot of myself in the fact that, and we talked about it.
You had the same build.
Same body.
Yeah. He has a teenage body. No, but I know what you mean.
And we look related. We look like brother and sister.
Like
yeah.
No, but I know what you mean, because he's probably off stage totally opposite what he is on stage. Not over the top, just quiet and very cool subdued and reserved. And I had the honor of opening for Lewis Black once, and that's how he is backstage.
Yeah.
Awesome, down to earth, soft spoken. He was like, "Hey, do you want to get a picture?" You know, this is him with laryngitis, by the way.
Anybody with laryngitis.
Yeah.
That's his new
but he had the finger. He had the finger going. He goes, "Hey, do you want to get a picture for your social media?" You know, but you know, he didn't yell. He didn't yell. But awesome. Yeah, similar. And I love when people are like that, because it means that they don't always have to be on. And we've talked about it. One of my pet peeves is when you're in the green room and someone is constantly on.
Right.
They're trying to make you laugh, but instead of saying, "Hey, I'm working on this joke. What do you think of this?" They just launch into the joke and think
they're like,
"Oh, you're going to catch me by surprise and I'm going to think it's funny." Like, I love people who are just normal off stage.
Yeah. And I like people that are normal off stage, but aren't like, there are some people who are just downright snotty and rude.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
They take themselves too seriously. And I also like people that if the vibe is right, you can goof around with them just because that's you have that vibe together.
Right.
But yeah, he was really nice and very subdued. And, you know, we talked a little bit about, you know, how we grew up, the same type of Italian stuff and things like that.
That's awesome.
How bad is it when you watch his act and you go, "Jesus Christ, why didn't I think of that?"
Well, it's funny because there are some things that I have talked about or written about that I was writing for. I've been writing this book for God knows how long.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that too.
And I had like the concept, and then I would like see him do it or Howard Stern talked about it. And
right.
I'm like, well, that means I have good ideas. So
exactly. True.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a great way to look at that.
I know.
Perfect.
Yeah. Cause then I feel like, well, I kind of have something going here.
But it sucks because you're like, "Oh shit, no, I can't."
Yeah. Because they're popular and they, you know, people heard it there. But yeah. So if it was something that was, you know, out there, I would take it out. But there was one thing I did when I was working with him. I was doing some crowd work, and he must have liked it because we worked like 5 shows together.
Yeah,
he started doing the same thing and every show after that, which I didn't even care because it's not like it was a real bit. It was something I did with an audience member.
Right.
But it was just funny. But the other moment that was cool for me was. Listen, I don't know what's going on with Nick DiPaolo anymore, so I can't speak to that. But years ago, I was a huge fan.
I just see his posts.
Yeah,
I don't even see anything.
And listen,
go on Facebook.
I'm moderate. Like, I'm not left, I'm not right.
Yeah, I'm independent.
I just look in the middle and I go, they're both nuts. Everyone's nuts on either side.
And I agree with you because do you remember Justin Morales?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Justin, one year when he was doing the Connecticut Comedy Festival, the opening of the festival, he had Nick DiPaolo and he had me open up for Nick.
Yeah.
So, and Nick was one of the first comedians that I like really, for local comedians at the time in the Boston area, looked up to.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was such a cool moment. And I see the same thing now with when I see him ranting online on videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, what happened?
I don't understand people.
He's very angry.
They're so obsessed with something like, don't you have other things going on in your life?
Nope.
And my thing is as a comic, as soon as you go one side or the other, you lose half of your audience. So I don't understand.
If that's who you really are, then that's fine. But I just don't happen to find it appealing. But
yeah,
I used to really like him. Like, I mean, he's a funny guy.
He's hilarious. I love Nick. Yeah.
And I worked with him down in.
And I agree with some of the things he says, but not everything. I mean, in the past, I don't listen to it. I don't know what's going on really honestly with anybody anymore. I barely am on Facebook. Right. In my own world since I know. I remember seeing your post a couple of weeks ago. I love the post of the guys that like DM you and then they're so desperate where they're like, hey, beautiful, I love your t-shirts. And then it's like, hey, fuck you, bitch. And I'm like, how does it turn that fast? Like, I've reached out to, listen, I will admit that I have reached out to women on Facebook, but if they ignore me, I go, okay, they're not interested. I move on. I never go the other way.
Okay. And first of all, my point wasn't to embarrass the guy. Clearly,
I know.
But the thing is, okay, so that was a thing that happened on Instagram, and it's happened to me on Facebook too.
Right.
But that's why I barely go on Instagram and Facebook, because it's like the craziest of the crazies are there.
Right.
Twitter is. I have a lot.
Oh, Twitter is. Really?
Oh yeah, I have a good number of followers on Twitter. We talk music. The people that I
really
direct message me are not looking to get laid or thinking.
Right.
But once in a while there's been a weirdo, and that's another story. But this guy,
and I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
Listen, I didn't want to out you, but
I'm just not on Twitter that much, so I figured she wouldn't mention it.
You shouldn't have taken the picture so far away from it. It looks but
forced perspective. You got to be closer.
Exactly.
Well, you're Irish.
Even Italian. I know that.
I'm Italian. I shouldn't have to do that.
Trust, I can give you some pointers. Okay. That's all I'm saying, my friend.
All right, Henry.
You had to practice that.
I'm telling you. I can give you some pointers. That's all.
You may fold under questioning, Henry. That's Joe Pesci with laryngitis. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, God. No, so the guy, first of all, I barely see messages because what happens with me is, first of all, I've told you guys I have a chronic illness, so most of the time I don't even feel good. Like right now, it's like shocking that I'm talking to you.
I appreciate that you're still on with us too this late. I know.
No, it's okay, but that's why I don't like to commit to things, because I truly don't know how I'm going to feel.
Right. I
don't want to cancel on people, so I've just backed away from a lot of stuff. But I was finishing writing my book. I do the radio show. I try to respond to, things, and I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so popular, but what I'm saying is sometimes there's messages that I don't see right away because it's a little overwhelming sometimes. Like I'm not a person who likes to be on social media.
You don't realize you're as popular as you are. And I don't mean that in a facetious way. You don't realize you're as popular as you are. So all of a sudden you might go on Facebook after 3 or 4 days and realize, oh shit, there's 25 messages and I didn't respond. And these nutbags, if you don't respond after a day, they're like, fuck you.
Well, that's what happens. It's like on Twitter, it's easier for me to keep up. I don't know why, but because I know a lot of the people now. So
right.
But also if somebody's nice enough to make a comment on a post, I'm trying to respond to comments.
Right.
By the time I'm done with that, I don't always look at messages too. Like,
yeah,
then they build up and then I feel overwhelmed and then that makes it worse.
you're right.
You know what? You just at this point, you can only respond to what you can respond to.
Yeah.
If people don't understand that, too bad. They'll get over it.
That's
it is.
Like,
it is what it is. So
Right.
social media is, gotten to the point where people think that they have instant contact with anybody they want to, and if they don't get instant gratification, it's all about them and their experience and
you have
what
to
they have in their
realize-
moment, and they get upset. Well, too bad. It's a big world. There's a lot of stuff going on,
and it's like,
and you gotta
listen. I reached out to Dane Cook a couple of weeks ago and asked him to be on the podcast. He got back to me within an hour and said, "Hey man, I've kind of
he's actually been very cool.
I dialed back on podcasts for a little while, but I'll definitely keep it in mind, man." Now I worked with Dane all the time in Boston when I first started. I didn't fucking go, "Fuck you." The guy's busy. I get it. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
if he comes on, great.
And honestly,
I don't take it personal.
He could not respond, and we would have been okay with
exactly
it. Because bigger name people like that, we don't expect always to get responses when we reach out to them because they're busy. Yeah. So we reach out and say, hey, if they respond, great. If they don't, whatever.
They don't, fine.
Whatever.
I get it.
He
totally
took the time to respond.
Yeah, which is so nice.
Right, exactly. Which was awesome.
The other thing too is I purposely don't have notifications on my phone. I don't have anything on my, like if I'm on my laptop,
probably healthier.
Yeah,
probably healthier.
I can't deal with it. It's too much. I don't like it. It stresses me out. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because we talked about the wow moments, and let me tell you, Sebastian's a pretty good wow moment.
That's awesome.
Artie earlier was actually a pretty good wow. That was a wow
moment of Nick DiPaolo, but that's
and then Nick. Now, where did you open up for Sebastian at? What was the venue?
That was down in Jersey. That was at Uncle Vinny's.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, right before.
Very famous club. Very famous club.
Well, that's where I opened for DiPaolo.
Okay.
After I opened, he was very nice to me, and he's like, "You're a really good writer." He's very complimentary. So then I get a call from the owner, and he's like, "Hey, are you available? Such and such. Nick wants you to come back and open for him."
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." So it was a great experience. And then he mentioned that he wanted me to possibly open for him on the road, but then I don't know what happened. I tried to connect with him.
Yeah.
But speaking of Justin Morales, you had brought him up earlier.
Yes.
Justin and I helped him produce a documentary. This was probably 9 years ago, called Dark Side of the Stage. And we interviewed Nick, and we interviewed Artie, and he interviewed, I think he interviewed Ralphie May, if I remember correctly, Alonzo Bowden.
Wow.
But I don't know if he never got enough backing, so it never came out.
Oh, that's too bad. I bet you that.
I know. And I thought about it recently because something popped up in one of my memories on Facebook with Justin. And I was like, geez, that really should have come out. Because, there's a docuseries called Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes.
Wrestling, which is awesome.
It's on Hulu, and I've been watching every episode.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's awesome. Justin's got a bourbon company.
That's the guy that does the
rock and bourbon.
Oh yeah.
We mentioned him on here before.
He's a great guy.
It's like an old fashioned in a bottle. It's great stuff. We'll give him another quick plug here.
Yeah.
Rock Up and Down Rock and Bourbon. It is bourbon mixed with fig and honey and a little bit of rock candy to give it a little sweetness. We'll have to bring a bottle on one week.
We'll have to get him on the show. Let's talk about this documentary.
And
maybe we could get him some backing.
Yeah, let's get Justin Morales on.
Absolutely.
Because we like bourbon. We like comedy, and Justin has been involved in both.
Yeah.
So
Justin has good hair, and who doesn't love good hair?
Hey,
I don't.
Right.
I don't.
I do.
I don't like good hair. Thank you.
I wish I had good hair.
I'm 53.
Thank you for kicking a man while he's down.
Listen, I got this frizz bomb that I have to deal with.
But you have it. You have.
Yeah, but you have it.
True.
But you have it. But anyway, the next the thing I wanted to ask about is your book, because we definitely want to talk about your book. You talked about writing it. What is your book?
It's called 100 Things to Hate Before You Die.
And so it's like a motivational speaker type of book.
Yeah, obviously, it's all about everything's great, and can't we all just get along? No, it's a book, a collection of rants, essays, whatever you want to call them. There's 100 different rants of things that we all hate. I think most of us, like gender reveals.
I'm already on board.
Listen, the more people that die of explosions and those gender reveals,
isn't it wonderful?
Absolutely.
I love it. Just don't burn any more forests,
Exactly. Leave nature alone.
Yeah.
Leave nature alone, but burn the idiots.
And please don't procreate.
Yeah. So there's all different kinds of rants in there, like lighthearted, and then I have, some ones that like about wokey pokey, I call it, like the people that are so woke, and angry patriotic guy, because I got to cover both ends,
Right.
And then the shorts all year long guy, like the guy that wears shorts even when it's like 20 below. So all different kinds of.
I saw that guy today.
I love that.
You know a guy
he's got
like a turtleneck and a but he's got his shorts on.
From the waist up, he could go skiing. And from the waist down, he's in Miami.
And they're never regular shorts. They're always cargo shorts.
Yes.
He's got to have like a switchblade in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Pliers.
You got to be ready.
What emergency is going to come?
Tire gauge. You got to be ready. Exactly.
Yeah, tire gauge. Yeah. Love that guy.
Now is the book out and available?
No, the book should have been. My new release date is March. I think it's March 23rd. I have to double check that.
Okay.
But,
okay.
I hired, the designer for the cover. I hired the interior designer, and let's just say the interior, there were a couple of glitches, so I had to now outsource it to somebody else.
No worries. But stay in touch, and when it is being released, let us know, and we'll definitely promote it.
Yeah, we'll have
for you,
and we can have you come back on and talk about it more. Like just about the book, like in March.
Yeah, definitely.
To have you back on.
Definitely. We want to get that out there and everything, because if you wrote the book half as well as you've written your jokes, and I could personally attest to that, it is going to be a great book.
That's awesome.
Because
you'll probably recognize some of the topics because I've talked about them on
That's okay.
On stage.
That's okay. Because you always were a great joke writer, so I'm sure the book is very, very well written. So
I appreciate it.
Let's finish up with our favorite topic. It is a topic that we have been asking for the past 5 years, since day one. And as a matter of fact,
we're writing a book.
We're writing a book too.
Nice.
We're putting together a collection of funny bad gig stories, and basically a couple of years ago we did an episode of our podcast called It's a Bad Gig When, where we came up with a list of the top things that comedians, when you walk into a gig, if you see any of these things,
it's going to be bad.
This is not going to be a good gig.
There's I just thought of one. Okay.
Well, we wanted a top 10 list, and we came up with the top 12 list because we couldn't narrow it down to 10. But we always ask our guests for the final question is for a funny bad gig story. That's the gig that night, after you were done,
it wasn't funny.
You were kind of thinking, maybe I could join a band or join a drama club. Maybe comedy's not for me.
Or as Scott says, I think Enterprise Rent-A-Car is hiring.
Still hiring,
yeah, anything but comedy. But a few weeks later, you kind of laugh about it, and it's your war story you compare with other comedians.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, I have one. You want it?
Well, if you've been in comedy more than a month, you have one of these.
Yeah, okay. So do you remember Mike McKenna? He was a Waterbury cop, and so we used to do a lot of gigs together. He was awesome. He would always hook me up. So he gets this gig.
She's laughing already.
Because I got to remember all the details because there are so many that I'll
the
try
whole
to
list of shit. Yeah, right.
It's insane. I don't even know if I could remember it all. But you should have him on because he'll probably remember. So he gets this gig for us in upstate New York, like literally at the Canadian border. Like it was like a 6-hour drive. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we thought it would be fun. It was a roadhouse. It sounded like wild and cool. So we get up there and, they were going to give us the accommodations and all this. So we get there and there are no hotels. There is nothing but this roadhouse and a couple of like dilapidated houses on the same street. So we get there and the guy's explaining to us that we're staying at the roadhouse. He's like, let me show you your rooms. So first he takes us upstairs. It looked like a halfway house for like crackheads. Okay. Yeah. We go upstairs. First he shows Mike his room. There's no door on it. It's a mattress on the floor with a dirty bucket next to it. I don't know what the bucket was for. They must have assumed you're going to barf at some point because you're going to have to drink so much to
oh my God.
In here. He goes, oh, but let me show you your room. He knocks on this door down the hall and this woman opens the door, this old woman. He's like, this is Barb. You're going to be staying with her.
Of course, her name is Barb. Of course,
it has to be.
So she's asking me if I like fresh squeezed orange juice in the morning.
Oh my God!
Do I like English muffins
or a line of Coke?
Okay, thank you, Barb.
No fucking way, Barb. So we're like, oh my God. So then we do the gig. We go downstairs. The bar had fly swatters for everybody because there's flies all over the
Seriously?
place. Yep.
Oh my God.
There was a guy that worked there. He was kind of the one that was showing us around. He was telling us how the house like across the street, there was like they're pretty sure that she murdered the husband and he's buried in the backyard. There were so many things I'm sure I'm forgetting, but yeah, we were like, why are we here? So I wouldn't sleep with Barb. I said to Mike, I go, I'm sleeping in the room with you guys, him and the MC. We all just slept on the mattress together. But I never fell asleep. I was up the whole night.
How was the show?
Get out of here.
How was the show though?
It wasn't bad.
And you got and they each got $50.
And they go $50.
Well, again, I'm not a drinker. I've just never been like into alcohol. Like I don't care one way or the other, but I've never been drunk.
Yep.
So Mike's like, you need to drink. So I did start drinking that night. I didn't
really?
get drunk, but I was a little tipsy.
That's awesome. The one gig that made Claudia drink. That's key.
Oh my God.
That was it.
I've had a couple of those where they show you the accommodations.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this Camp Crystal Lake? Where the hell is this?
I know. It was the crazy. I was like, wait, what is happening right now? The Barb thing is what got me the most.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
There, by the way, she was like a resident of this room
of the place. Yeah.
House. It was weird.
She didn't even own the house. She was just another resident.
Yeah,
hi, I'm Barb.
Lived in a room. Thanks, Barb.
Yeah, thanks, Barb.
Do you like orange juice there? Because I'm Barb and I make the orange juice.
Oh my
and
God.
how about some English muffins?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Again, people think just squeeze comedy in wherever.
And they think that we have such a glamorous life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you get to travel the world when you're doing comedy. That's what we get for travel accommodations.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure we lost money, not made money.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
By the time you paid for gas and travel and everything else, you made nothing.
Yeah.
You made
but it
nothing.
was worth it for that. We laughed about it.
But you have fun. That's the thing. It's a road story.
Laughed our asses off. So it was great.
It's a road story. It's something to be able to reminisce about.
Yep.
Oh, I am so happy to have you on tonight.
Absolutely.
I miss working with you so much. You were always one of my absolute favorite people to work with.
You should get her at the
Same way.
Bradley.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
much.
definitely, I would love to. I have a theater gig that I book on a regular basis, and if you're feeling up to it, we got to talk. Because I would love
when
to have
I
you.
get back out there, I will. I call it my health hiatus.
You let me know when you're back in full force and working again. And I have this awesome theater gig, 400-seat theater, and I want to get you out because I just want an excuse to work with you again.
I would love it. I would love it so
one, you would do amazing there, and two, I want to see you again.
Yeah, we need to hang again.
Exactly. It was just, the city scene, we talked about it earlier, that the hang on the Saturday night, they had the longest downtime between the two shows on Saturday night of any club. And when it was like me and Claudia and Chris Tabb, it seemed to go by in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'd be in the green room just laughing our asses off for the time.
Do you remember? I know you got to go, but remember the mirror was so high up?
Yes.
I'm like, I need to see what I look like for the next show.
Right.
I can't even stand on a chair and see myself. Who is this for?
I could see
Goldman.
I could see,
right.
I could see from like here up, maybe.
Exactly.
Chris Tabb was the only one that could see himself, and he had a shaved head, so he was fine.
Good. He didn't even need a mirror.
Yeah, he was absolutely fine. He looked good.
Yeah.
You and I are trying to check ourselves. It's like, okay, this one hair sticking up looks fine.
Yeah,
she couldn't see herself.
Like down my face yet?
Yeah.
Exactly. You should get her to the theater in Massachusetts.
Yes,
too.
that's another one. Another one. So
Nice.
yeah, let me know when you're back up and running again, and we'll definitely get you up for some stuff. So,
and believe me, if anyone understands the health issues, I wanted to send out like my availabilities for after the first of the year, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a voice.
Oh my God.
Like it's been that bad. It's been 4 weeks. I'm actually a little bit nervous for the first time in 30 years about my voice coming back. And again,
you definitely need, like you said, to see that ENT. I'd be curious if you think of it, if you feel like emailing me. I'm nosy because I love health stuff. I'm very interested.
No, I'll definitely let you know because.
And I wish we had time to talk about the vaccine thing because I had a question.
Well, listen. After we go off the air, we could definitely talk about vaccines.
Yeah. Maybe
absolutely.
We can talk like tomorrow or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. But listen, we really want to thank you for making yourself available because we know, like you said, you've been battling some health issues. We don't want to get into it, but you've been battling some health issues that cause you, and not for nothing, but you also said you're on the morning show.
Right. Like, on top of it.
You start early in the morning. So the fact that you're on now with us, we really appreciate that you made yourself available for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Really well, I appreciate that you guys had me on, and
absolutely
it flew by. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to pull off an hour, and here we are.
Yeah, and here you are.
You're not the first person that said that to us.
It's so funny. We had Judy Carter, who was the comedy Bible. And she was at the beginning of the podcast. She's like, "How long is this?" And we're like 30 to 40 minutes if you can do it. And then by the end of it, we were on for like an hour and 15 minutes. She goes, "This was so much fun. I had so much fun doing this." Like that, and that's what we want our guests. We want our guests to feel comfortable. And again, once your book comes out, and hopefully
definitely have to have you back on,
and hopefully you're feeling better by then. We'd love to have you on again. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I would love to.
Definitely. So everybody,
check out
that was Claudia Stavola. Check out her website at claudiacomedy.com, which the link will be in today's show notes. So just go to the show notes and you can click on that and check out everything Claudia.
And coming up over the next few weeks, we've got Kendra Cunningham coming back on.
Yep.
We've got Corey G coming on. And then we've got our best of 2021
and best of the funny bad gig stories.
I've already been going through the funny bad gigs and the episodes this year. We've got so much stuff. It's amazing.
I know.
It's going to be so much fun.
I'm tired already.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But listen, folks, we really appreciate you listening. Thank you so much for watching and listening every week. I can't thank you enough. Again, 5-star written reviews. Please let us know if you have anyone in your area that you enjoy. a comic that you'd like us to get on the podcast?
Yeah, please reach out to us and give us suggestions. We loved talking to new people we may not necessarily be familiar with. We love getting to know them.
And listen, we've got some guests lined up in the new year. We've got the guy that started the Comedy Central.
Yeah, the guy that started Comedy Central.
It's going to be
when it was called the Comedy Channel.
Absolutely.
Coming on.
And that's when I was on it. 1991, years ago.
Don't flaunt your fame, Ace.
No,
don't flaunt your fame.
A lot of good that does me. Anyway, but no, listen, we really appreciate listening. And other than that,
we will talk to you
next week.